Welcome one, welcome all. It's the RedLeafRetrocast, the modern gaming edition. I am your host, JD, joined here with the guy who's not burning alive, Jay.
I'm in a country that's burning alive, though. That counts, doesn't it?
Well, I'm convinced the fire, I've been making Australian fire, jokes, sort of, on the podcast lately, trying to make light of a horrid situation.
I've heard some of them, and
they're all towards you.
I've noticed.
It's not global warming, it's just a whole entire continent on fire.
You know, like, there's a hole in the ozone layer here, and, like, the sun just hates Australia.
I'm very well aware. My brother did a couple years in Australia, so he was telling me all about it.
Yeah, like, literally here, you go outside and get burnt, and just, yeah, it sucks.
Maybe I'll make it to Australia someday. I'm quite interested, that's for sure.
Yeah, you can meet all kinds of chlamydia-ridden animals and weird hybrid things like a platypus, and you'll just be in awe of all the things that'll try to kill you.
Dude, platypi, they're awesome. Chlamydia-ridden koalas, not awesome.
I mean, unless they piss on you, you should be fine. Or you try to have sex with a koala, but hey, I'm not one to judge.
I'll be one to judge. I don't want chlamydia.
Yeah, apparently that stuff, apparently that kind of crap hurts. I mean, what happens in Australia stays in Australia, unless it's chlamydia, that'll go back with you, right?
A lot of things will go back with you in Australia. Spider bites, snake bites, platypi bites.
You know platypi have like a poisonous barb on them?
That's why I mentioned them.
No, it's not a bite, it's like a stab.
Aren't there?
Not like
anyways,
9 out of 10.
This is
out of 10 things here that look cuddly are probably just going to try to kill you or are poisonous. So you know,
this is not the Australia Animal Cast. This is the Game of the Year cast for the Modern Gaming edition of the Red Leaf Retrocast. I know that's a mouthful. And each year that we've done this, much like how I tweak the Wrestler of the Year over at the Red Leaf Retrocast Wrestling Edition, we did something different to rank our games this year. Remember last year, Jay, you joined me? Last year you joined me. And
I think that was the first episode I did.
I think so. And we came up with a bunch of categories of winners and nominations, and we kind of came together on a point system, and that's what ended up winning it. Monster Hunter World won last year. This year we went much more simplistic, which I kind of liked, because it gets us to talk about all the games.
Easier.
So what we've done this year is we each came up with a top 15 list, since we covered over 80 games for the podcast in 2019. You believe that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Pretty nuts. So coming up with 15 was not hard, but you know what I will say? Once I got out of number 12, those last 3, I had about 10 games listed. Those were harder, but of course, since they're at the bottom, they were kind of irrelevant at that point.
For me, it was 1 through 10 I cared about, and then the last 5 were just kind of fill up for the list, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, well, so we each came up with our 15. I assigned them points, just like I did with the wrestling cast. Rank 1 will get 15 points, rank 2, 14, etc. And then I just added them together, and whichever ones had the most points, they would stay on the list, right? And our rule, we had a special rule which we came up with beforehand, right? Which is remakes cannot be ranked higher than 5, because the game already existed.
And if they were allowed to be, it would have been Resident Evil. Right.
But regardless, Resident Evil and Legend of Zelda and Medieval, among others, they scored as high as I think we expected them.
Yeah, so in case you haven't been paying attention, it's pretty obvious to see where Resident Evil kind of fell.
Right. And then I got, for fun, kind of the, a popularity poll of the top games of the year, and then Polygon's list, which is just as baffling as usual, just because they're artsy-fartsy over there. And so once we go through our 15, we're going to have our 5 favorite games that just didn't make the cut, something you might check out if you have similar taste as our own. And then an outlook to finish out real quick over what games we know are coming out in 2020 with release dates, what months they come out, and how excited we are for them. So, Jay, did you enjoy 2019 games?
I did. Did you enjoy 2019 games?
No, I hate video games. This is all a farce.
So do I. This is all just us completely lying, and the veil has finally been pulled, and we're here just to insult your favorite video games.
So, for this podcast, on this special occasion, I have a nice glass of single malt scotch, Whistle Pig, in my New Brunswick Hopscotch Whiskey Bar whiskey glass, scotch glass.
So, you've been drinking a lot of scotch lately, so I'm expecting reviews coming soon on the Red Leaf Retrocast Scotch podcast.
This Whistle Pig's amazing. It's top quality.
Is it the best scotch you've had in the last 3 months?
Oh, absolutely. Bar none, without question.
What about the Goku one that you had?
Oh, the Dragon Ball? I had Monkey Punch that day.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Was that any good?
It was passable. It's not anywhere near the same level as Whistle Pig. I will tell you that. That is the difference between a $100+ bottle of scotch and a $35.
Nice. So, dude, last time I drank scotch, you and I were watching a small wrestling program, which you may or may not have heard of, called New Japan's Dominion, and it happened to be the 2 out of 3 falls match. I got very sick the next morning and woke up and stood in a pile of vomit.
Oh.
Yeah. So now I've moved on to whiskey and bourbon, which is essentially scotch, just not from Scotland.
True. Very true. All right. So let's get this thing started with number 15, shall we?
So what are we doing? Are we going to do a little bit of a conversation about the game, or are we just going to list through them?
A little conversation about each game. Go through them real quick. Simple thoughts. Cool. And as we get closer to the top, you might be surprised what we ended up getting. So, number 15. I will go first, Jay, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Bloodstained Ritual of the Night came in at number 15, which I'm quite happy about. You did not have this on your list, but I did. I ranked it fairly high. High enough, as it seems. So, Bloodstained was the Kickstarter game. It's basically Castlevania with an anime chick. And it plays exactly like that retro-style game. I actually just spoke about retro-style games made in the modern era on the Retro Gaming podcast that just came out upon this recording. Yeah. So, Bloodstained is like Symphony of the Night with a bunch of quirks to it with getting it. I'm trying to remember. It's been I haven't played this since July, actually. So you beat up enemies, kill them, and then they may or may not drop a special item that can help power up your character. And you go through, they got big boss battles as you go through the game. There's a magic system, a eating system. It seems every game these days have to have some sort of cooking system, right? So you're collecting all these items from the monsters. It's really cool. I highly enjoyed the game. I hadn't beaten it. I got like halfway through. So that's kind of a theme for me in 2019. I didn't really beat all the games, but I at least played a lot of the ones I loved, at least to the halfway point.
So you and I have a different situation where you played more games and maybe didn't finish them, but I finished more games than you and didn't play as many.
I suppose you could look at it that way. But that's really the kind of gamer I am. It really takes a special kind of game for me to complete it really fast, because by the time I'm like, yeah, I've kind of had my fill of this game, I'm ready to move on to another one. I might come back to it at a later date. Who knows, right? I don't have a compulsion to finish video games, because I have so many, and I just, I'm in the mood to play this one today, kind of deal.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Each to their own. We all play games in our own kind of way.
Exactly. All right.
So, dude, number 14 was
I'll let you handle this one.
was the Pocket Monsters, Sword and Shield. And this was like your classic Pokemon game, except they get very big.
This was mid-tier on your list. It didn't make mine, which shouldn't come as a surprise with our conversation we had.
I've got a soft spot for Pokemon.
See, I think if you would have played Yokai Watch 3, you would have liked that more.
Yeah, but like we said last time, it's just a hard game to track down.
I gotta get it digitally.
I don't like digital.
Me neither, but I got it.
Number 13 was Days Gone, which I'll take from here as well. Dude, what more do you need in a zombie game than a motorbike and a handful of guns?
I mean, I didn't hate this game at all. I don't think it's a great game by any means, right? But it does, I think it does it's definitely fixed, right? Because when it first came out, it was quite buggy. It's kind of a mess. It's fixed now with a lot of those issues. The main character is pretty cool. The motorbike's cool. Do not run out of gas ever. Ever.
Yeah, it's don't do that. It's a death sentence.
I think the biggest thing holding why this game didn't make my list, it was kind of on the outer edge, you might say. Why this game didn't make it for me and why it's so low on our... Because you love this game, right?
I did. I've got a soft spot for like big open world zombie games, like be it Dead Rising, be it this. Just that particular style of game, I've got a soft spot for. Kind of like I got a soft spot for Pokemon. I don't know why, but it's something I seem to enjoy.
So what was holding this game back for me personally was the hordes of zombies is a really cool concept. You know, DayZ kind of situation, right?
Right.
I just don't think these hordes came up enough. Like, I swear I played this game forever until I came across like the second horde. The first one you get introduced like pretty early, and then that second one just feels like it takes ages. It was just too few and too few and too far in between. Does that make sense?
Okay, so the thing is, like with the hordes and stuff, like there's one or two that's like moving around the map at all times, and then there's a whole bunch of just like in static positions.
Right.
And I completely agree. Like if they had popped up a bit more and were a bit more of a constant threat, it would have made the game a lot more tense and a lot more interesting.
Yeah, because when this game was first announced, it was coming out, I was actually quite interested in it and grew more interest over time, and how it was like, oh, you got to tackle these hordes of zombies using various puzzles or the environmental kind of damage, kind of like a Horizon Zero Dawn situation when you're trying to take down whatever dinosaur animal robot you're trying to do, right?
Right, good game.
So it's a great concept with Days Gone to do that, but again, it just didn't happen enough, and to me, that was the crux of the game that had me interested in. So just going around on your motorbike, and it wasn't too much into the story, you know, this whole Sons of Anarchy thing going on in the game, but it was very passable. I'm glad you really enjoyed it. What was your favorite part of the game in general?
The mechanics itself. Like I just thought everything was done well, like we said, besides the whole horde sort of interaction-y stuff.
Ah, okay. All right, I will, I think we both played this game, didn't we? This next one, number 12? Maybe?
I will... No.
All right, so number 12 is Devil May Cry 5, which for a long part of the year was my number 1. And it fell out of favor quite a bit. The game is super action-based. It's campy. It really... I think it really got back to its roots on what made Devil May Cry so good. I just played one for the Retro Gaming Podcast. In fact, the one that just came out. So another plug there. The new character Nico. She's just this quirky Southern sassy gal. She's awesome. I always love a good side character like that who plays her role so well. Dante and Nero, they're awesome. the part that ended up losing me, because I did end up beating Devil May Cry 5 when it was all said and done. Because in December I made it a point to try and beat as much as I could, or at least play more of them. And Devil May Cry 5 was top of the list. I was like, I want to beat this. I beat it. The ending was satisfying. What ended up happening was, because it's a hack and slash game, right? It got really repetitive in the battle system. Go to this area, hack and slash. Go to this area, hack and slash. I've never been a gamer to go for high scores unless it's a retro game, where the whole purpose is to get a high score. So the grade system at the end of a level, like, I don't care if I get a D or a B. It's not gonna prevent me from going to the next level because I got a D rank, right?
Like, you made it through alive, sometimes that's good enough.
And that's kind of like, and I was on the second highest difficulty level for quite some time, but every time I came to a boss battle, you pretty much have to be perfect. And then I was just like, well, shit. I get hit like twice, I'm dead. I have to lower the difficulty level for the bosses, and then go about the game on a higher difficulty level from there on. So it got a little repetitive, that's why it fell out of favor from the top of the list. But from a pure action and entertainment standpoint, the game's got it all. I really enjoyed it. That's why it makes number 12.
Sweet. Would you like to take over number 11? Because I know you have some things to say.
Oh, such a bummer, too. Number 11 is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. The From Software game. You're a ninja asshole whose entire goal is to save this feudal lord kid from evil Thunder Guy and various other things that are happening. The game is, I think, the most beautiful looking game of the year graphically. I think it played the smoothest. The action in this, I feel, trumps Devil May Cry 5. There's just two things holding us back, because I love this game. I played it probably I played it as much as I could. I think I pumped at least 15 hours into it. It's definitely not one of the games I played the most, because the must counter system is aggravating. Okay? It's one mechanic, and if you're not good at this one mechanic, or good enough, I should say, right? If you're not up to this level, you can't do it. Like, you can't beat this game. So there's a lot of instances where you'll just die in a hit because the enemy parries you at the right time or something. If you don't have the parry system down, certain attack mechanics, you'll just die. And it feels like the game is filled with those cheap deaths. But my biggest gripe of all is not so much even that it's too hard. It's the fact that in Dark Souls and Bloodborne games that these creators have done, if you're not good enough, you can just level up your character, right? You can grind, so then your character's strong enough to make up for you not being good enough, right?
But you can't do that in Sekiro.
You can't do that in Sekiro. You have a limit to how much stronger you can get, and it's just not good enough for me. Because I really did love this game. But if I hit a brick wall, it's like playing Ninja Gaiden 3. I love that game, but if I can only get to level 2, fuck off. Right?
Fair enough.
And that was Sekiro's biggest problem with me. I could not beat it. I could not get past any boss, essentially. It was always, oh, this game's awesome. I love going about this world. Hit a boss battle, die 50,000 times. Right? I don't got time for that shit. And I didn't feel like I was getting better. The deaths just kept getting cheaper. I feel like I'm frustrated because I love this game so much and I couldn't play more of it. And that's why it's so low. So, anyways, Jay, we're in the top 10 now. The nitty gritty.
And I have one word to say about the next game. Are you ready?
I'm ready. My body's ready.
Honk.
Whoa.
Damn it. Whoa.
I gotta drink some scotch as you as you say your thing.
All right. Can I go now?
Mm.
Are you sure?
Oh, scotch is so good. I think I'll take another one.
Honk.
Oh, honk indeed. Oh, I love it when you honk at me.
I love when you honk at me.
What's the game called?
It is called Untitled Hitman Goose Game.
It is Hitman It is Hitman, but Goose.
It is Hit Goose.
Hit Goose. Dude, this game's
Hit Goose is a
so
game.
much fun.
It became a meme straight after it came out, and for good reason. It's just ridiculously good. It's dumb, but dumb fun.
It's one of the most original games of the year. I will say that. Baba Is You is another super original game, right? But
Right.
the entry level for Untitled Goose Game and just the plain fun you have doing it is next level. You know, there seems to always be one or two indie games that come out each year that just takes the world by storm, and Untitled Goose Game was that game of 2019. Solving puzzles by wreaking havoc as a goose for the inevitable goal to get a golden bell and take it back to your little home, right? Oh, it's great.
What's the point of getting the bell? Screw it, you're a goose.
And there's even tasks you can complete once you finish the mainline game, right? So there's so much value in it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I just the puzzles were very intuitive. It was always, oh, okay, how am I gonna make this kid buy back his airplane, right? Oh, well, this lady's selling things. What if I just throw it over here and she picks it up and then you just see your little mischief in action? Ah, it's great.
If you haven't played Untitled Goose Game, you should go play Untitled Goose Game, is essentially what we are saying.
Yeah, it's if you have an Xbox and you have Game Pass, it's free on there. It's now out on all platforms, including PS4 now. So, yeah, highly recommend. It's dumb fun.
It is. I enjoyed it. JD, would you like to go through game number 9?
Number 9 is the second highest indie game we have of the year. It is called Wargroove, a game I spoke extremely highly of, I believe in like February this year. I think that's when it came out. Came out in February. If you are a fan of turn-based strategy games, something like Advanced War on the Game Boy Advance, maybe like a Fire Emblem kind of situation, Wargroove is a simple story of basically avoid world domination from the evil enemy situation. And who is messaging? Oh. Jay just went away for a second. He could have just told me on the podcast as I keep talking about Wargroove. So yeah, it's a very simplistic story. Stop the world from being taken over. Evil entity this, evil entity that. And you go about each map, and the maps and terrains play such a pivotal point of Wargroove as opposed to the new Fire Emblem or I guess a Shining Force series. So you don't get a set cast. What you do is each stage, each map is set with however the story is playing out, and you will have these like 2 or 3 characters from the story. Those are your main ones, and as you continue, you build up an army through collecting coins and money and whatnot, and that can get you more members of your army, and all till either wiping all the enemies out or wiping their fortress out. So there's multiple goals you can do per map. So it creates different strategies. A level could take you anywhere from 20 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how quickly you get the tactics of it all. It's such an in-depth game for what it is. It's very affordable. It's one of my favorite indie titles in a while. I did beat this game. It was super fun. There's even a lot of side missions. There's DLC. There's multiplayer modes. Highly recommend Wargroove. Go check it out, everybody. It's number 9 on our list of our top 15.
Yeah. It's good.
Jay, you're back.
I didn't disappear. What are you talking about?
Of course you disappeared. You messaged me saying you were going to be right back. Someone was at your door interrupting our podcast.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to just be like, JD, there's someone at the door. You don't have to break the freaking fourth wall.
Of course I do. You could have just said, JD, someone's at my door. Keep talking about Wargroove. That's so good because it made number 9. So I'm going to order you to talk about number 8 because you totally did not play Astral Chain, you dick.
Astral Chain is a game called Astral Chain that made number 8 on the list because JD put it very high on his list.
That's right. Your book report sucked.
What was that?
Your book report was terrible.
Just shut up. I didn't play it.
So another hack and slash game made the list. And I love this game more than Devil May Cry 5 and Sekiro. Do you know why?
That's interesting. Because it's better than those two.
Well, I think so. It's a Nintendo Switch exclusive. It's by Platinum Games, so the same people that made Bayonetta. Yeah. So this game does not get repetitive because it's a consistent story throughout. The game mechanics are very it's Platinum Games, so it's very fluid to how it wants you to play. The combat, while it seems trying at first because you're essentially controlling 2 characters at once, it becomes intuitive, right? So you can wrap a monster up in chains and switch between weapons on the fly. You get new and more abilities as you go on. The game never felt repetitive. The story is very anime. And
that's why it's called Astral Chain.
Well, it's called Astral Chain because the chain's through an astral plane. You're controlling astral beings and you're chaining them up. That's literally why.
I was trying to sound smart
and
explain
Jay,
what an astral chain, because you mentioned that was a chain and it was an astral chain. Because shut up, JD.
All right. So basically, the story is the world's coming to an end. You see a theme here with a lot of these games.
That's usually what games are about.
The human race is getting wiped out by these interdimensional creatures, and these scientists come up with super science. They're like, oh, we can control these beings, but only select people can actually, control them. Right? Once their chains are tied down to a person, so you have to be compatible. And you select between 2 twins. Whichever one that you choose, the other one will talk while your character you chose is the silent protagonist. It's kind of
which is why you started as a girl and then changed to being a dude because you wanted to hear the chick talk.
Right. I didn't want the girl to be silent the whole time. That's lame.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Astral Chain. It's I think it's the best action game of the year.
Fair enough. Well, that makes sense. If that's what you think, then I'm sure you have your reasons.
Yeah. It was in my top 5. That's why it's way up here.
Well, it could explain some things, then, couldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
All right, next.
Next we have let me get back to the list here for a second. Dude. Judgment.
Number 7.
What did you... number 7 is Judgment.
This is all because of you.
Judgment is good. Screw you. If you don't like Judgment, you can eat a dick.
I like Judgment.
But
it didn't make my top 15.
Why? I'm curious, because I thought the game was great. I have to say, Crane style is better than Tiger style. But okay, so what was wrong with Judgment for you for it not to be in your top 15? Because this was my top game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it was your number one. That's why it's so high.
I thought it was great. Okay, why didn't you have it in your top 15?
Objectively, it's not better than most of the games on this list.
Objectively, yes. However, you told me to make my top 15.
Yeah, I know. So we're both Yakuza nerds. What Judgment, look, Judgment's a good game. I enjoyed it. Okay? I enjoyed it more than most games that came out this year. What it's lacking, or not really lacking, but what it's not good at is its pacing. It's very slow, it's tedious, it's monotonous.
Right.
I agree. That's a big problem. It's a mystery game. You're solving the mystery, and the mystery just doesn't come.
But all of the Yakuza games, dude, they are a slow build.
Not to the extent. I think it's because Yakuza is more of the action-based. Everything flows. You can just go story to story. What Judgment forces you to do are these weird, repetitive chase scenes that are good the first couple times. It makes you go into this first-person search mode to look for clues. It's like, look, I don't hate it at all, but this was a big turnoff for a lot of people.
Well, a lot of people can just suck it up and go finish a game.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. All right, well then make your list of why this game was number one for you, because that's the whole reason why it made it.
Because I thought it was objectively a good game. It continues on with the Yakuza story to an extent. It brought me back to that world, which I wasn't sure if we're actually going to get back into, and I just thought it was good seeing a fresh coat of paint over places that we've spent years in. I'm sorry, I just loved friggin' Judgment, and there's nothing you can say that's going to make me change my list.
Well, what was great about the story for you?
The mystery. I thought the mystery was good. Is that a problem?
No.
Well,
like you're not trying to convince me. Your job right now is to explain and convince the audience why it scored so high.
It scored so high because objectively I thought it was the best game I played this year. And I know I'm not really helping your situation.
You need to elaborate on these answers, man.
JD.
Like the game mechanics, the mystery, like parts of the story, what drew you in, what didn't.
JD, okay. The story drew me in. I thought that after a while, like you said, it did get a little bit repetitive with the searching for stuff, but that's fine because every search area has a cat. And as we all know, cats are life. The mystery was good, and screw you, it's my list.
I'm not arguing your list.
I'm sorry, no. Let's move on.
What drew me in for the story of Judgment was the fact that you are a detective, right? You're a lawyer. You're a lawyer first, and you get this guy out from prison, or getting off from going to prison for murder, right? And then turns around and immediately his life is thrown into disarray, and now he's not a lawyer anymore, right? So now he's working low key for the Yakuza, which I think is cool because it puts you in that same world. Okay? And then when you help this Yakuza out by finding your various clues, and this is how the game gets you into it, and it's really slow on the tasks you have to complete. But what's great about it is the story is so satisfying, and that's what makes the Yakuza series so good. That's what keeps you enthralled and continuing to play. Whether you think the game is slow or not is more or less irrelevant if you're wrapped into everything else about the game, right?
Right.
So the moment that really threw me over the edge for I got to play more of this was the Yakuza boss that you're trying to get out of jail, prove his innocence, that he didn't murder this dude in the alley, which, by the way, the murders themselves are really gruesome. The whole stabbing of the eyes and taking them. you know this dude is bad news. The character knows he's bad news. But he wants to find the big fish, right? He doesn't want the minnow in the pond. He wants the bass. And you can and because this all makes sense, this is good storytelling. That's what I liked about Judgment. It's very much the same with the Yakuza series. Now,
correct.
That is how you convince the audience, Jay.
Shut up.
And you played this game longer than I did. You beat this, didn't you?
Not entirely, no.
Well, I think we have to beat this game at some point in 2020 and come back to it. Because we got a lot of Yakuza to play as well, because the Yakuza Remastered series is coming out in February. On my birthday, I might add.
Nice. It's coming out while I'm in Tokyo, so that kind of ties into. But look, how do I explain this? I freaking love Yakuza, okay? Like, it was guaranteed once I played, like, even 5 hours of this game, it was going to be my top game of the year. I know I have to justify myself, but screw it. It's my game of the year.
I don't think you get why we're here.
I do. I'm just saying I'm defensive at the moment because I think people are going to hate me for putting it so high.
I mean, I could hate you for putting it so high.
But you're not going to, because you also think it is a good game that just didn't make your top 15, JD.
Correct. Because I think other games came out that were better than it.
Don't lie.
All right, number 6 is Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening Remake.
Hey, my favorite Zelda game. Well, not officially this one, but I mean, how does this count? Like, because my favorite freaking Zelda game is like Link's Awakening. So does this count as my favorite Zelda game, or is like the original Link's Awakening my favorite Zelda game?
They can both be.
Well, I'm curious. Like, do you count remakes as being tied to your favorite game? If, like, say for example,
I'll give you an example. A great example, actually.
Go. Resident Evil 2. No, go.
No. Wind Waker. I don't like the GameCube Wind Waker, but I love the Wii U HD Wind Waker remake or remaster.
Okay.
And that specific version is my favorite Zelda game because everything I hated and about the original Wind Waker was fixed in the HD remake, and now and after that I was like, I love this game with all my heart. So, if something was fixed or improved upon so much, right, then this remake could be your favorite. But if it's still close enough to the original, then they both can be. You're just like, hey, I like this newer version, right?
Fair enough. I think I still prefer the original.
I mean, I think they're pretty equal with me, personally.
That's fair.
It's like the new coat of paint with the upgrade. It definitely controls a lot easier, and you have more than 2 buttons, which is really nice.
Well, I mean, being able to walk in a 360-degree angle as opposed to 4 directions does make things typically easier.
Right. Yeah. No, this was a very enjoyable experience. Link's Awakening's definitely up there for one of the top Zelda games.
Yeah,
it's not making a lot of people's lists either, but we'll get into that when we get into other people's like popular vote lists of what made it, etc., etc.
Yeah, but people are dumb, so you know.
Oh, we'll definitely get there. All right, number 5. You take it.
Resident Evil 2 Remake. JD, what more can we say about this game that we did not say when this game first came out? It was freaking perfect for a remake. It introduces...
a year ago?
It was pretty much a year ago. Think about it. I think it was like February, wasn't it?
No, it was January like 20th or something.
Yeah, so pretty much a year ago.
Yeah.
It was perfect for a remake. It introduces a whole new fan base if they chose to play this game instead of the original into this, and I personally find it a lot more accessible than the original Resident Evil 2.
Well, I mean, when you put it in the modern era, the new perspective over the shoulder, it still has that same spooky atmosphere, which is really important. Whenever there's games that are trying to remake the past, haha, there's always something missing, right? And Resident Evil games in general, if you can't recreate that spooky atmosphere and the sense of being uncomfortable constantly, then it's not going to be a good remake. What Resident Evil 2 did was not only make the atmosphere more spooky, was its conversion to the modern era is now a benchmark on how all remakes are supposed to be, right? So Resident Evil 3, when that's coming out, if it's not up to this level, it has an expectation, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, number 4. Disco Elysium, the top indie game of the year.
Dude, I love drug dealer Nazis.
Our second detective mystery game on the list.
Love drug dealer Nazis.
I love the think system. I love the mystery in this more than Judgment, because Judgment's a serious story. Disco Elysium, you're playing the story. And what that means is your character wakes up from a drunken binge, and he has total amnesia because of it. So it puts the Conker's Bad Fur Day situation going there. And now, because of that, you can form this character any way you so please in this dreary world. So you can make him a super cop, obeys the law of all things. Or you can make him a communist racist, like I did on my first playthrough. Because it was just so ridiculous that you can make this character just a piece of shit, basically. It's great. Solving it's a point-and-click adventure game, so if you're not into those styles, that genre, then obviously it wouldn't be for you. But if you're into solving mysteries, a very original concept for a game, Disco Elysium checks all of the boxes. It shouldn't be any surprise why it was this was at the bottom of your list, but at the top of mine, because I don't think you played it too much.
I didn't play it, but I watched some stuff, and it just looks like pure fun.
Like, even in the Let's Play perspective, this game is just fun to experience with other people, seeing people's decisions, because whatever decisions you make, it may unlock certain things in the game, and then it may lock out other things in the game. So it has replayability value as well. That's why I played it twice. Like, it was that good. It was that much fun for me. Like, it gave you more than enough reason to, like, oh, what if I want to go about it in this route? What will happen to the character? What will happen to characters around him? What will my Asian friend think? Because when I made the character a racist, my Asian little partner there was not about about our main character. He's like, all right, let's remain professional. No, you gotta talk about these Jews. It's like, do we really have to? Oh yeah, they're Jews. You're like, oh my god.
Exactly. Just, yeah.
Like, I can't think of another game that even remotely touches what this game was able to make me feel, and make me, like, experience. It is not part of the PC culture of 2019, that's for sure.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about it that was like a breath of fresh air, because a lot of games these days are going the PC culture way.
Oh, they're afraid to hit a boundary, they're afraid to cross a line. This game goes, hey, if you want to cross the line, that's up to you, the player, because you're playing the game. If you don't want to do that, then you don't have to.
JD, what you're saying is right. Like, what you're saying is, you as the player are a piece of crap.
That was the objective that I made my character. Yeah.
So really, if, like, say for example here, they were going to do a personality test and use this game as a thing, and you were to play through this game as you would typically play through, like if you were the main character, how would you rank?
I would, you talk about my first playthrough, the second playthrough? or just in
no.
reality?
Like say for example, if you were dropped into this world and it was you, like
Oh,
you, JD, what would your
I'd
traits
probably
be?
be one of the protesters trying to make a dime off of not working.
Nice.
There you go.
It's just like things I love about these particular like styles of games, because like you can play through them ridiculously like you did, or you can like take a step back and put yourself in that situation, which is why I like the Telltale game so much. Like, what would I do in this particular situation? It's just, I find these games really fascinating.
Well, the other thing that made this game stand out is I've played a lot of games where they give you dialogue choices, right? And no matter what you pick, the outcome's always the same, or your choice has no bearing towards the story, right? So I'm just like, yeah, whatever, I'll pick this. The Outer Worlds had a lot. I mean, the whole game was dialogue, and that was great. And your dialogue affects other dialogue and how some parts of the story play out. Great. Disco Elysium puts that tenfold over, right? Because you're listening, like at the near the first like couple hours you're playing, you meet this like bouncer Russian who believes in like oh shit, what was the old Nazi not unification, the if you weren't part of the best race you were supposed to be like neutered. I'm blanking on the terms here. Know what I'm talking about?
I do. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Anyways, this guy's just going through all of these reasons for the way he thinks, and then because he's spouted all this information towards you, it creates a think tank that then you assign your character to understand what he was talking about, and then you can choose to either think like him, agree with him, disagree with him. And I'm like looking at the dialogue, and he's like explaining how genocide of a certain race would benefit society. And I'm just going, oh my god. Like, this is what the Nazis were talking about. And he's all about that. Yeah, nice. I love Disco Elysium. It's a PC game, and I'm not a PC gamer. It's crazy. It's supposed to in 2020 come out on the PS4, among others. So if you want it on your console, that's a good way to get it. All right, number 3, take it away.
In number 3, you have caught me off guard, and I had the thing that crossed off because I was looking at something. Give me a second. It was Super Mario Maker 2. Now, dude, what can you do to improve on Super Mario Maker 1? The answer is Super Mario Maker 2. They added pretty much everything that was missing from the first game. And have you ever wanted to get frustrated by a Mario level? This is the time.
This game's going under a lot of people's radar in general, because the first game I remember being top of the lists for so many people across the board, right? And now this year, Mario Maker 2 comes out, and it just doesn't have that same steam, even though it's a better game than the first one, right? It added so much to the sequel that it just made you fall in love with it over again.
Maybe the reason for that is like people fantasized about a game where you can make Mario levels, and they had that come out on the Wii U, and like this one came out on the Switch, and I know a lot more people have the Switch, but maybe they had that itch scratched back on the Wii U or the 3DS.
Which is weird because not a lot of people bought a Wii U, right?
It was also on the 3DS though, wasn't it? And a lot of people had a 3DS.
It came out later. Yeah, a lot of people have a 3DS, but it doesn't have the same effect being portable, if that makes sense. Like to the portability of the 3DS. Especially, well, at least in the West, I should say. Because if you go in Japan, everyone had a 3DS, right?
True.
In the West, it's not a culturally... It's not a social cultural thing to just bust out your PlayStation Vita or your... It used to be with the Game Boy once upon a time, but not anymore.
True.
But I'm very happy. This made top of yours in mid-table of mine. So it was it ranked up there. It was one of the few games we both had it in our like top 10.
Yeah, it's a very good game.
Yeah, I mean, I still just pop it in and play it every now and again anyways. I have over like 35 hours in it. There's more than I can say about a lot of games.
I don't play it as much as I probably should. I watch people play through stupid levels, like your friend and my friend Kev.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Did the same thing with the Wii U. I've played Mario Maker 2 more than I did with the first one, actually, because there's more variety to it. There's a story mode to it, which was a lot of fun to just... it essentially functions as giving you ideas and other creators ideas to make your level, and that was fun to do. They just added more content to it, so Mario Maker 2 is a blast.
It is.
But it's not the best Nintendo game of the year, is it?
No, because our top 3 are all Nintendo games. Like the frustrating water levels and sand pit level in the following, which is Luigi's Mansion 3. I don't understand, dude, how you can have a freaking easy time in that stupid basement.
Because I understand the concept of physics.
Me, Kev, and friggin' one-up John had issues with it. Screw you, it sucked.
Well, you should have paid attention in science class.
Who's to say Australia has science?
Oh, okay. Is that why you can't put out your fires? Oh.
Nice.
It's more an insult towards you than the people of Australia.
Yeah, that was a low blow. Screw you, I did pay attention in science. My brain just doesn't function the way that the game wants me to.
Look, have you ever seen people function in space or underwater?
Yes.
Okay. You know how they have those air guns to make them turn and go back and forth?
Similar kind of concept, yes.
It's the exact same concept.
Screw you, it doesn't work.
It does work. You point, like if you blow your vacuum, right? You blow it, not suck. Well, if you suck, where are you going to go? You're going to go where the vacuum's sucking. If you blow, you're going to go in the opposite direction, right?
True.
That's it. That's all you had to do.
No, I got past the level. I'm just saying it was frustrating and I hated it. And the part after that friggin' level where you got to track down the friggin' button that end up going like into stupid sharks and crap is also frustrating. However, just because it's frustrating does not mean that it was a bad game, and that is why it is second on our list.
It was, fun fact, this was my number 1.
I think it was my number 2, wasn't it?
It was your 4.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
My bad. But yeah, no, I was up there for both of us. It's a very good game.
Dude, I beat this. This was the only game of the entire year I beat in the weekend I got it.
That's commitment.
Yeah. No, this was the game I can truly say I was addicted to. It was everything I wanted in Luigi's Mansion and more.
Yeah, I can completely understand that. It is a very, 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 very good game.
Like there was just one instance in the pyramid floor where the sand physics would glitch out. So that's not a problem with me not understanding how it worked. It just literally froze the game. I couldn't kill the boss. There was also issues with me blowing the sand and the buttons wouldn't activate. That was a second glitch I came across. So that was irritating. But once I just restarted it, then it worked. So it was just kind of a minor bug in the game. That was the only one I came across. That Nintendo polish was quite good in this. I adored the story. Played this with my mom as well, going through it a second time, and she adored the game. And she just found it really funny. It's quirky. It has that charm to it. I loved Luigi's Mansion 3. It was an easy pick for, like, when I was making my list. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, oh, okay, I have something wrong with this one. Yeah, this is a sequel. Like, the base game was already there. With Luigi's Mansion 3, I think it helped a lot that I never played the second one. And I'd played the first one for the podcast pretty recently, and then when I popped in 3, I'm like, this doesn't feel like the same game. I know it's the same game, but so many years have passed. Like, everything's improved upon. There's a new cast of characters. The one gripe I had was, if you're a completionist and you go through the whole game trying to get like the special things, all the gems and the ghosts and whatnot, you don't get anything that'll help you. Like if you collect all the blueprints for the Rhino and Ratchet and Clank, you can use the Rhino, as soon as you do that, and then there's New Game Plus, where then you just start with the Rhino, right? That doesn't happen in Luigi's Mansion 3, so that was a big bummer. But a lot of games do that. That's nothing new, right? So,
yeah.
What was your favorite floor in Luigi's Mansion 3?
The Godzilla level.
The movie set?
Yeah. And of course I vacuumed up that friggin' director. He's a ghost.
I left him alone. He was nice.
He was nice. He gave me a button, but he was the enemy. He was a ghost.
But he wasn't hurting you.
Yeah. He needed to get vacuumed up. He was part of the problem because he was blue. Maybe he was racist against blue things.
Top of my head, I think my favorite level was like the disco stage. I just found that hilarious the whole time. You know what you know what I wasn't a fan of?
Chasing
the cat.
Water level? Oh yeah, that was freaking frustrating.
There was a point in it where I got kind of stuck for a while. I'm like, how do I activate this cat? It's behind the tub. Like, what do I need to do? Because that was right after the movie set, where it disappears through the floor and you gotta go search for it. I was like, oh, man. It's just kind of cumbersome. Felt like Wind Waker type stuff. Go find all the scrolls or whatever they were in the water. You remember that?
Yeah.
Fishing for the scrolls?
I do.
Yeah. All right. Unanimous number 1, which only got 1 point more than Luigi's Mansion 3. Jay?
Fire Emblem, The Three Houses.
Shocking.
I know. I just wish I could customize my character. That'll be a 10 out of 10 instead of a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Both are number 2s, by the way.
Interesting. Well, there's a good reason for it.
The only one we unanimously agreed upon. We're like,
No.
it's both the second best game of the year. And I was like, well, if we both agree it's the second best game of the year, should it be number 2?
Objectively, it's probably better than Judgment. But I'm standing by Judgment.
Uh-huh, okay. Well, it's number 1 regardless.
Indeed. Freaking great game. Very good game.
I think it's the easiest Fire Emblem I've ever played.
I think Awakening. I'm probably gonna go with Awakening still.
This is way easier than Awakening.
Nah, because you can auto battle in Awakening, and I don't think you can auto battle in this.
Sure, you can.
Can you? I haven't figured that out to them. I'm dumb.
Yeah. Huh. I don't recommend it because it's a Fire Emblem game and there's permadeath.
Well, if you're not playing on I'm a Bitch mode, there is.
Oh, come on, it's Fire Emblem. You gotta play on permadeath. The whole point is if you don't want the character to die, you have to restart the whole stage. Or at least until the point where you saved.
Just play on casual like the noob I am.
Yeah. If you don't want to care about it.
Maybe I just want to get through the game and not have to stress myself about people dying.
But what Fire Emblem did so great is you gotta try to recreate the series, but keep its spirit, And what Fire Emblem did this time, instead of concentrating on a story more or concentrating on improving the battle system, what they did was they kicked back the battle system a bit. Is why I think it's so easy, and they got rid of the whole rock paper scissors mechanic. Pretty much made that null and void. Is they wanted you to focus on the characters, right? Get attached to the characters, fall in love with your favorite characters, recruit them, which took me a long time. I actually had to go on the Anime Radicals podcast and talk about this game. Then it's like, oh, you have to do like a tea party and shit to to get the morale up, and then you can recruit them later in the story, etc., etc. Like it's all about character interaction, and then the battles is kind of like your good. I have this character on my team now. Now I get to see them in action, and the story having 3 separate characters that you can focus on their playthroughs, as opposed to past Fire, or at least with Fates, where you needed to buy like 3 separate games to get the full experience, or pre-order the game,
collector's edition,
yeah,
which is like an extra
immediately.
Shut up. Which is like an extra like $30, and if you're lucky, like a particular Australian that I know, me, you have all 3 of them on one card.
Yeah, well, that's nice, but you still need to play. You still need to play 2 games, right? And you had to pay that extra money. Fire Emblem Three Houses was 1 game. And then you can play.
I'm gonna let's take a step back here for a second. You're right. You did have to buy 3 games, like friggin' what was it, Birthright, Conquest, and Revelations. However, they were all different games. Like they had told the same story, but they were all different enough. It's not like Pokemon where they just like reskin something.
I'll meet you halfway on that.
Fine. Look, as I said, it didn't cost me like 3 times the price of a normal game. It was like standard DS price plus like another $30. It was a very good deal for friggin' Birthright, Conquest, and Revelations.
Sure. But it sold out immediately, so I wasn't able to get it.
Well, that's because your country sucks, and I have it, and screw you.
My country's not on fire yet.
Yes, it is. I thought California was.
That's a state.
It's still part of your country.
Yeah, but not the whole country's on fire.
I don't think one... Oh, no, there probably is. I redact my statement.
I've seen the fire map of Australia. The whole place is in flame.
That's a very good Swedish death metal band.
In flame?
In flames, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Fire Emblem Three Houses. It's you'll get 100 hours out of this fucking thing. It's worth every penny. I have my gripes with it because I really like my turn-based strategy games to have some challenge to it. I didn't feel like the game had challenge, but because of what they focused on and what they want you to focus on in the game, I didn't mind. Because it's all about the characters, and I was attached to the characters.
Indeed. And none of mine died because I played on easy.
I haven't actually had anyone die in battle or had to restart a battle, so...
Well, turns out somebody just thinks they're better than me.
Well, I do like turn-based strategy games. I do like them a lot.
That's why Wargroove is also on the list.
Yeah, considering Wargroove is also on this list, and that game is much harder.
Yeah, I want to check that out, but, you know, I haven't had gotten around to it.
Okay, so just real quick. A popularity poll of more mainstream games. I actually took this from Angry Joe. Have you heard of him?
No, I have not.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I didn't get his number 1. Oh, I know what the number 1 is. Anyways, so I listened to a bunch of podcasts. Let's see. I won't name them. Listen to about 5 gaming podcasts. Angry Joe, various other YouTubers, and they all pretty much had the same top 10, right? You know, switch them up however you want, but the lists were more or less the same. They consisted of these games: Control, which I had it in my top 15, by the way, but you didn't like that because it was slow at first.
I couldn't get into it. I gave it time. I tried. It's not for me.
Right, which is fine. Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Gross.
Yeah, fuck that. Death Stranding, way too controversial.
Walking Simulator.
Like, anyways, we spoke a lot about Death Stranding. My mom played Death Stranding. She fucking hated that game.
She also fell down a mountain or something.
Yeah, it was so funny.
It was
I was like, Mom, go to the light. Okay, jumps off a cliff. Great.
I died, JD.
Yeah. Apex Legends, which you and I played for like a night, and then we're like, yeah, we're done.
Yeah, we were the second best team in the world.
Yeah. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which we spoke at length about on the podcast.
I like it. You don't. I think it's a good entry-level Souls game if you want to count it like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're okay with encountering a glitch and bug every 30 minutes. But anyways, Mortal Kombat
it's patched
11.
now. It's fine. Screw you. Mortal Kombat is Mortal Kombat and has towers.
Yeah, when half the game has egregious shit like that, I just can't. It's like, I have Mortal Kombat X. Like, what is so special about 11?
It has the I after the X.
Right, okay. The Outer Worlds, just kind of a control situation for you as well.
I can't get into it.
Right. Borderlands 3 and Sekiro. Devil May Cry 5, and then Resident Evil 2 Remake, which is like a unanimous number one for many, many, many people.
Well, let's be honest here. If it was able to be our number one, what are the odds of it actually being our number one? Because I probably would have put it at second or first.
Well, I mean, if we go with hypothetical, it would have then gotten... third.
So yeah, see, okay, it would have been our top three then. Cool.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been one, though.
Moving on.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I call, like, the mainstream list. Know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no judgment on that one.
Like, just because the most people play it doesn't mean it's the best game. It's kind of like it's kind of like movies. Just because the most people saw one of the Avengers movies doesn't mean it's the best movie that came out, right?
Correct.
Yeah. That's why you don't see them winning the Oscars.
Correct.
And then just to look at Polygon's list, Sekiro was 1, Control 2. A game that you can't even play anymore is 3, which I think is garbage.
What's that?
That's that horror game that got banished in China because there was a depiction of the dictator as Winnie the Pooh in it.
What was the game? I didn't hear about this.
It was called Devotion.
Oh.
And by the time I heard about it, it was already banned. I was like, damn it.
Cool.
Oh, actually, no. Sekiro was 5. What was number 1? Hold on. Number 1 was... Oh, The Outer Wilds, which I played, and that was a case I couldn't get into it.
Fair enough. I'm just going to throw this one out there. You know how like games get banned and then like they become impossible to find and then they become like things of legend? Like PT, for an example. Was friggin' Devotion actually like as good as these people are saying?
I mean, I played PT, so I can confirm that. I didn't play Devotion, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, right? Like PT's become one of those legendary things where it's like people pay thousands upon thousands of dollars to buy a console with PT's demo on it. It's a legit thing, dude. If you look it up on eBay, you can find freaking like consoles with the PT demo going for like thousands of dollars.
Crazy. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Let's see. Luigi's Mansion, Outer Worlds, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2 came in at 9 for them. Baba Is You was 4, which I spoke about. Bunch of indie titles that we didn't even cover on the podcast, which I thought was funny. Goose Game at 41. Astral Chain came in at 45, which I feel insulted now. No, Astral Chain was 37. What was that? 45. 45. Oh, 45 was Bloodstained. Okay.
Alrighty.
So.
You know, we're obviously not mainstream gamers.
Well, we played all the mainstream games. We're just like, they're not as good.
That is true. Unless it's Luigi's Mansion and Fire Emblem.
All right. So, really quick, Jay, what were 5 games that you really enjoyed that just didn't make the cut?
Alrighty,
something that you would recommend to people that might have the same taste as you.
Medieval Star Wars Yokai Watch, because it looked like a lot of fun, even though I did not get a chance to play it. Friggin' Persona Q2. And I had another one, but I've lost it. Come back to me for a second. I just got to quickly go back to my list.
What,
Shut
you don't
up.
want to see Gears 5?
So, JD, what are your 5 games?
All right. So, I also have Yokai Watch 3.
I remember my other one. Sorry, go.
Well, say your other one.
Yoshi's Crafted World.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a cute game.
It's good.
Simple enough.
I like it.
Oxygen is not included. The full version released, and that's when I finally played it. Came out in 2019. The full version. It's one of those survival, build your world up before you die kind of games. It's in the same vein as like a Civilization, but you're on a single map building your survival, essentially.
Nice.
You get put on different planets. Those are your stages, and the planets have different environmental things. That it's an addicting type of game, so it's perfect for the Disco Elysium fans out there. I would say Oxygen Not Included would be. I mean, it's not a point and click adventure, but it is point and click survival. A Plague Tale made my list of 5 faves. That was one of the games I take that back, Jay. Luigi's Mansion 3 was not the only game I beat in the weekend that I got it. A Plague Tale was as well.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean, I can't think of another game I played that took place during the Black Plague, in which then the child that you're trying to protect, the main character's little brother, has the power to control the plague rats of the world.
That kind of sounds like Dishonored.
Dude, it was awesome. Like, Plague Tale... Yeah. Plague Tale is just one of those games where it's more about the story than the actual action gameplay, but it definitely makes you feel the dread and the situation of the world, and it was more unique of the year for me. Yeah. I think that the game looked better, and the mechanics... If there was more game in it, then it would have definitely like made the top 10 with those tweaks. Anyways, Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. If you like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and you want to play as different characters, that's Yooka-Laylee. The second one nailed it. It's a great platforming game. You know me, I love platformers. Not a strong year for platformers, by the way, for 2019.
I realize that now that you pointed it out.
Yeah, I mean, Blasphemous in September was kind of a platformer, but not really. Yooka-Laylee was only the only real true platformer. Well, Mario Maker 2, I suppose, but...
But you need to make your own game in that.
Oh, okay. And then, shockingly, which I think is better than Star Wars if you listen to that podcast, Surge 2.
Whoa.
Dark Souls with killer robots.
Yeah, good game. I agree. Definitely on the 5 things you should check out.
Yeah. Surge 2 was kind of my big surprise of the year, I will say. Because I went into it going, this game's gonna fucking suck. I hated the first game. Surge 2's reviews come out, I'm like, oh, look at those initial reviews. It's just as bad as the first one. And then like a day went by, a third day went by. The reviews are getting better. Oh my god, the average score is better. Okay, I'll go check it out. I like this game. Everything I hated about the first one is no longer in the second one. Fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, dude. I have 4 games that are coming out in 2020 that I can tell you that I'm already looking forward to. 3 of which are remakes.
Okay.
Okay, we have Yakuza 3 through 5.
Sure. Yeah.
We have Resident Evil 3.
Yep. In April.
Correct. I'm not sure if the following is an actual remake or if it's some... what exactly is this new Persona 5?
I think it's an expansion. and they're including it
like
with
a
the
DLC?
base game. Yeah. Persona 5 Royale.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, but I just don't know what it is. Like, I freaking love Persona. I'm going to get this game. I'm just not 100% sure what it is exactly.
All right, let me confirm this.
I've tried Googling stuff. I cannot find any friggin' information on it. And the other game, which I'm sure is going to be in your list as well of things that you already know are coming out, is The Last of Us 2.
New game details. What exactly is Persona 5 Royale? Enhanced port of P5 exclusively for the PlayStation 4.
Wasn't it already exclusive for the PS4?
I think it's going to Xbox.
Either way, look, I'm going to play through Persona 5 again. Is essentially what
I'm pretty sure it's just an expanded version.
You know what? I'm happy to play Persona 5 again. I probably will play Persona 5 again. You probably won't see me for a few days. I'm probably just going to disappear into Persona like I did with Persona 5.
Alright, here we go. Persona 5 Royale. There are 2 additional confidants. So you get 2 new characters. Okay, so they've added 2 characters, and that expands the story, basically.
So we're going to get like another 2 palaces.
That's what it seems like, yes. Just
JD?
from my initial reading here.
I'm just going to throw this out there. I don't care. I'm playing Persona 5 again.
Yeah, alright.
And the other one was The Last of Us 2.
Last of Us 2 comes out in May. So in January, February, we have Dreams, Journey to the Savage Planet, which is an indie title I'll be paying attention to. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which, like 3 weeks later, will hit Xbox Game Pass for free. So if you just have a little patience, you can just get it for like $5. Or use a Game Pass.
Like something you're going to do.
That's exactly what I'm going to do, because we're not covering any games until like March from here forward. So we got plenty of time to just mess around with whatever we want. Yakuza Remastered Collection you already mentioned, so we'll get our Yakuza on. You know what, Jay? I should finally beat Yakuza 0, and then I can talk about it.
JD?
That should be my goal.
I highly doubt you're going to beat Yakuza 0. I'm only saying that because I just don't think you're going to beat Yakuza 0.
That sounds like a challenge I accept.
Do you have a Kiwami?
I have Kiwami.
Didn't I buy you one of them? I think I bought you... I gave you money for one of them, and then you said you already had it. I don't freaking remember.
I don't
it was
remember
like
either.
This year's birthday present. I gave you money and told you to buy them. You said you already had it. I'm like, oh, whatever.
Alright. March, Animal Crossing New Horizons, which I am getting day fucking 1.
Here's a secret which you're probably going to hate me for. I don't like Animal Crossing.
That's okay. You don't have to. Still going to cover it on the podcast. And I
That's
expect you to
fine.
at least watch a YouTube video for 30 minutes.
I will watch a review from IGN.
No, you have to watch the first 30 minutes of gameplay.
If you stream it, fine.
Deal. Alright, Doom Eternal. I know a lot of people are looking forward to that. I've already...
The subject of Doom, I am on a Doom kick at the moment, and I'm quite looking forward to this. I'm currently playing through Doom 3 after beating 1 and 2.
Final Fantasy VII Remake. I don't think I'll get this day 1, because I've played Final Fantasy VII. I love it. I'm more or less probably going to watch Let's Plays on Final Fantasy VII. And then play like the first hour at my gaming store that I like going to.
I'll probably get it. I'm just not sure when. Oh, another game.
I mean, I'm definitely going to get it. It's just not going to be day 1.
Another game that's coming out, which I'll be getting day 1, is Bravely 2nd, Bravely 3rd. I don't freaking know what it's called. Bravely, whatever
Switch
it
port?
is. Yeah. No, it's not a port, is it?
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. No, it's Bravely. It's a new Bravely Default.
No.
Yeah, they're doing Bravely 2nd now. It's not Bravely Default and Layer or
Bravely
it's
2nd
Bravely
came
Default
out
2.
for the 3DS.
No. Sorry, it's Bravely Default 2. They announced it at the Game Awards. Bravely Default 2 is coming out.
So it's a sequel to Bravely Default that's not Bravely 2nd?
Yes.
That's not confusing at all.
I know. Shut up.
All right, I'm looking this up. Bravely
Default
2. So this Bravely Second End Layer.
Nope, that's Bravely Second.
Bravely Default 2 coming to... Okay, here we go. Be a Nintendo Switch exclusive. Not to be confused with Bravely Second End Layer. Okay, which I thought that's what it was. So
nope.
Completely new and feature of new parties and characters from the original game. While Bravely Second End Layer continued the story of the original game, it looks like Bravely Default 2 will be a new standalone game. Well then fuck, I'm in too. It will drop sometime in 2020.
Dude, I freaking love Bravely games. They're so good.
I do as well. It's good stuff. Well, alright, I'll just add that to the list. I'm pumped about that.
Me too.
Cyberpunk 2077, I'll be getting day 1 in April.
Ooh, I forgot that was a game, but yes, add that to my list as well.
Trials of Mana remake. I do really want that one. That's a remake that I want. I just don't know if I'll get it right away because I'll be hopped up on Animal Crossing and Cyberpunk.
Fair enough.
Last of Us 2, Wasteland 3, and that takes us through the games that have release dates in May. Those are the bigger titles. If indie titles come out, then hey, we might cover them.
Wasn't Wasteland like the predecessor to Fallout?
Yes.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to check this one out.
Well, I mean, that's why we're covering it on the podcast.
Well, I didn't know it was a thing.
We could get a thing like Surge 2, or it just takes us by surprise.
We could.
Or Concrete Genie.
Now. Hey, Concrete Genie was fun. Screw you.
It was fun to a point. Ghost of Tsushima. I really hope that is a launch title for the PS5. I don't think it is.
I don't know.
Like, if a game... you know what I think I might do? Because I'm getting a PS5 at launch. Okay? I think if a game comes out after August, I'm just not going to get it because I know that there's going to be a port to the PS5.
Ultimately, that is your decision.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm going to do. And then if I change my mind, then it will be cheaper for the PS4 at a later date. Right? Yes?
Right.
You feel me?
Right. Yes.
Okay. Jay, this has been a blast. This was our Game of the Year cast of 2019. Just to go through our top 15 of the cast one last time. Bloodstained, Pokemans, Days Gone, Devil May Cry Foomph, Sekiro, Untitled Honk, Wargroovin, Astral Chains, Judgment without an E, Zelda Remake, Resident Evil Remake, Disco, Communist Racist Elysium.
That is the correct title, and you cannot prove us wrong.
Super Mario Maker 3.
Super Mario Maker DOS.
No, 3. It's 3.
DOS.
Un, deux, trois. Luigi's Mansion Dry. And then Fire Emblem Dryheim. You get all that?
So join us in March?
Yeah, this is you're not going to get this podcast again until March because there's like no games coming out in January, so that's no February cast basically. And then February only has technically like 2 games cuz I'm not counting Dreams coming out until it is physically available because I've been waiting on that game for like 2 years and it's had release dates like 4 times.
JD. Maybe just throwing it out there. Maybe I'll come on the wrestling cast.
Oh. Well, I mean, that's not the modern game cast. You won't get the modern game cast till March.
Yeah, well, if they miss May, they can just whatever.
Maybe we'll release the podcast the day after St. Patrick's Day and we'll record it hammered.
Well, that'll be 2 days after St. Patrick's Day for me, because I'm in the future.
I mean, I don't mind drinking 2 days in a row. I'm an adult. I can make that decision.
Do you guys do green beer over there? Because out of curiosity or not?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Dude, I live in New England, outside Boston. It's a lot of Irish people.
Nice. So
let me rephrase. A lot of Irish descendants.
Nice. So, Modern Game Podcast, Game of the Year 2019. We look forward to hearing. Did I stuffed that up? Shut up. Look forward to coming. I quit.
See you next time.